Welcome to Minority Focus. I'm your host, Jimmie Moore. I'm sort of ashamed of myself today because rebel flag, rebel Confederate battle flag was raised out on our interstate. I wasn't there. I raised my voice to people on porches and outside stores and in different gatherings, fussed about it a lot, but I wasn't there. So many voices that are selected, elected, could have, would have, should have spoken in some important form or fashion about it didn't. Jimmie Moore didn't. Thank you, Gladman Umbles.
Yeah.
My guest today
It's kind of deep, man.
on the show, Richard A. Brad.
Had me kind
Give me
of
that, bro.
had me kind of percolating there while you was talking.
Is that right?
Yeah, actually, I had an opportunity to comment on that raising of that flag, and oddly enough, one of the guys that's pretty prominent in that organization that raised the flag, I played football against when we were in high school.
Is that right?
And I totally ran into him at a function here, and he told me, he said, "Well, I guess you know where I was this morning." And he was commenting because my comments that I made in the paper was that, you know, that's private property, and the Constitution of the United States allows a person, a group to express themselves the way they feel they needed to express themselves, as long as it wasn't causing any bodily harm to another person.
Exactly.
And I said that's where our Constitution is laid out. By that same token, that same document allows me to share how I feel verbally about what you're doing.
For sure.
Now, you may not like what I'm saying, I may not like what you're doing, but we both have a chance to express ourselves. And I think that's what makes this country so great, man, that we can do that. Now, we don't have to agree, and if we don't agree, we don't agree. But we can be dignified men while we're talking about it, or women. And my words to him was that I hear what you're saying about heritage, and maybe when the South succeeded from the Union and Jefferson Davis was kind of arm twisted to become their first president, the Confederacy dropped off and decided to become a country. And every country needs a flag, a symbol, and that was their symbol. And then later on in the 40s and 50s, groups like the KKK and things, they adopted that symbol as their rallying, as their banner, as their flag. Right. Well, all of that together, you know, I told the brother, I said, look, man, I said, when you see that flag, you may see heritage or your great-grandfather or great-great-grandfather, whatever. I said, when I see that flag, I'm thinking about your great-great whatever owning my great-great whatever, and it's a sign of suppression, hate, brutality. That's what I see. Now, you may not agree with that. Maybe you can't even understand that. I'm just letting you know, when I see that symbol, that's what I feel. That's the way I feel. And so we, you know, you know, he said, you got to understand what I'm saying. I said, I hear what you're saying. I said, but if you're going to fly that, there's a lot of folks that will take offense of that because of what I just laid out.
Okay. I understand what you're saying, man. It's I read somewhere that initially the flag of the Confederacy, not the Confederate war flag, was a whole nother design. I'm gonna have to look that up and see what that looks like. But
yeah, well, you know, it's kind of wild because the way things turned out, whether it was that rebel flag or any other kind of flag, if that's what it was representing, it would have had some kind of negative connotation to it. But okay. But the thing of it is, man, that's the world we live in, and life is life. We talk about it all the time. We have to adjust our game every now and then.
Okay.
Right?
An old poem, Desiderata.
I'm not familiar.
It's old. As a matter of fact, it's found in an old English monastery. Nobody knows who wrote it, but there's a part of it that says, listen to everyone, even the dull and the ignorant, for they too have a story to tell.
I agree with that.
So in listening to somebody, you never know if you listen, even though you object to who they are, what they are, whatever,
Right.
there may be something they say that you can utilize somehow. There may be an understanding you can come to that you've never had. Like I just recently came to about the Kentucky.
Yeah, yeah. I want you to know this is UK football, and every year this time I kind of get excited thinking we might do something. So
I imagine.
I'm a little bit optimistic this time of year.
Like I've said many times, after 50 years, I allowed myself to listen, to check out what I'd been so against for almost 50 years, and learned that I was wrong the whole time.
Hey. Yeah.
Went out
Can
and
I have
bought
a
me-
raise of hands that's ever been down that way? Are you serious? But that lets you know about information, man.
Yeah.
You got it. Look, you know, there are kids at Tillman that wear shirts, jerseys of teams that they have no idea about. This one kid was walking down the hall, had a Lou Alcindor UCLA throwback jersey on, had Alcindor on the back.
Right.
And I asked him, I said, you know who that was? The kid goes, no. I said, so why are you wearing it? It goes with my shoes. I was like, boy, give me that jersey, man. How the heck are you not going to know who's on the back? You don't know who number 33 was? I mean, it's amazing, man. Give me the jersey.
There it is. In other words, don't just be in your thinking. Know what your thinking is,
Yeah.
and whether it's proper and fits.
That'll help.
You know, like it's-
That would help. That would help, man.
Your daughter, McKinley,
Yeah. She's
I don't know what to say about
well,
her.
you know, Cindy and I was talking about Mickey the other night. I have two daughters. McKinley is the youngest, and Townley, she's the oldest. She's 28. And Townley blessed us with a grandson. He's 2, and so that's a whole nother experience in itself. But Mickey, when she was 2, 3 years old, I think maybe 3 or 4. When we were doing the Vision in the City Paducah, and everything was so fast paced, man. I mean, we would be here, there, everywhere. We had so many things going on: street ministry, I mean, concerts, pool parties, all kind of crazy things going on. And she grew up in that pace. And I told Cindy the other night, she has not slowed down at all, man. And she's got that same pace. It's like 120 miles an hour, man.
It
And
just thrills me
yeah,
to
she's
read and hear
yeah, she's doing her thing.
about the things that she's doing.
She's
you know.
doing her thing, man.
It's awesome. That just brought a thought to mind. We talk about Paducah having nothing to offer. Sometimes it should be a matter of what you have to offer Paducah. Young kids grow up and they get away. They go. I am so happy you stayed.
Oh yeah.
I'm so happy you stayed
Yeah,
here.
yeah. Well, I fell in love with Paducah in 1972 when my
Right.
dad moved us up here from West Tennessee, moved into Jefferson Court. I looked out the back, I saw a playground. I'm in. I live in a house with a playground, monkey bars and swings in the backyard. I mean, I was so excited. I was so
One thing I
excited.
specifically admire about Mickey, I remembered once that there was a play, Little Orphan Annie, and she wanted very much to play that part, and that she prayed about it, and that she got that part. I think in a lot of cases, I wish that I had been better attuned to the Lord with my kids and had given more of Him to them. But it's a precious thing that you've got to do.
Yeah.
That mindset gets in them early. You know?
Yeah, and you know, you never know what sticks, man. I mean, you present it, and you try. And usually, when they're that young, when children are that young, when people are that young, they're very trusting. And if you have two parents that really love their children will thrive in that environment because they trust what you say, and you're not going to tell them anything wrong. But I got to tell you a story on that Annie audition, man. There were like 32 girls,
Right.
all coming in there dressed up like Annie, and none of them looked like Mick, right? And Mick had just turned 7, and so she had started going to Footlights, which is a wonderful, wonderful program that April and Michael Cochran, they're the director of, and April is the director of Children's Services, Footlights down at the Market House on Saturday mornings. And that's where McKinley and Townley got their start. And so she had a couple of friends, 2 or 3 friends. And so the night for the audition, we're down there, and I'm talking to Cindy. I said, "Where's Mickey?" She said she's down there talking to a couple of her friends. They're all trying to get the same part, man. So I get up, I was like, "Hey, Mick," I said, "Come here." She goes, "What?" I said, don't be talking to them." I was like, "There's only one Annie. There's there's only one. So you need to be focused." And Cindy was over there shaking her head. She was like, "Man, you putting all kind of pressure on that kid." I said, "You talk to them after you get cast as Annie." Well, she got the part, and she had just turned 7.
Right.
And she did a great job. But you talk about parents and kids saying that there's nothing to do. There's plenty to do, man. There's plenty to do in the city here. And Market House has a unique niche where they take kids and actually put them in situations where they have to think. They have to they have to improv. They have to think on their feet.
Yes.
They'll give you some. There's a game called Complaint Department that is so cool, and I think they really should start a adult group of Footlights, because the game is, I'm the clerk, you're the customer bringing back something.
Right.
You leave the room before everybody in the room knows what you're bringing back, but you.
Right.
So you're coming up and you're saying this doesn't work right. I'm bringing it back. So then I'm asking you, well, what did you try to do with it? You have no idea what you got. It's so funny, man. It's so funny. But
I love it.
Yeah, but those are good things.
You mentioned putting pressure on kids earlier. My daughter wrote me a 12, 15-page letter some years ago about her growing up.
Right.
Good, bad, whole 9 yards. And from time to time, I'd read it and read through it. And just recently, I read a part of it that said, when she got ready to go to college, in your reading subjects, you must have A's. Anything that requires reading, you must have A's. Everything else, no less than a C. This is a freshman going to college. Had no idea I'd put that kind of pressure on her. That's a lot of pressure to put on a freshman going to college.
Yeah.
There were expectations.
Right.
I had expectations, and I expected things of her.
Right.
And I wanted her to excel. But to make that kind of demand, she blew that freshman year totally, parted down.
Oh, man.
But she recovered and went on and stuff. But this parenting thing is so
well, I mean,
magical.
it's if you really want to do the job right, you pretty much take yourself out of it. Whatever you got going on, you take it and you put it on hold most of the time. And if you don't, then you're not paying attention the way you should, the way I feel about it. Because you got to get them to a point. You know they're going to leave. And if you really care about them and you realize how crazy this world is, you got to give them some fundamentals that they may ignore. Doesn't mean it's not there. Right. In certain situations, they'll ignore it to do what they want to do, but they always have it in the back of their mind. I probably shouldn't have done this, and I hope it doesn't come back to get me. You know, as long as you put that in there, but you pretty much just put your life on hold. Now, here's the way I feel about it. Once we get to that part where they're adults, look, I did my job pretty good. Right. You making decisions now, you're gonna have to live with. So, That's why I said when we came in, I hope they were paying attention because, you know, I did the best I knew how.
Proverbs, I think it's Proverbs. Train up a child in the way that he should go. When he was old, will not depart from it. I've said this many times. Back in the day, before I knew anything about the scriptures at all, I thought that was an old saying.
Yeah.
So when I grew up, I did something with it. I said, train up a child in the way they should go. And when it's old, it might depart from it, but it ain't your fault.
That's right.
Then, later on, I read the 22nd chapter of Revelations, where it says, don't change nothing in here. Don't add nothing to this. Don't take nothing away. But you're right. They've always got that in the back, somewhere in the back of their mind. There's a little something that you put in there.
Well, because I can tell you, just from my own experience, when I was 21 years old, I'm in UK, you know, and there was a club there called the Circus. And the Circus didn't open till 1:30 in the morning. And it closed to 5. Wow. So I remember walking in this club, man, and this was back when Queen had Another One Bites the Dust was like blowing up all the bass. It was crazy. I walked in this place and all you hear was boom, 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 you know. And you had to walk through this corridor kind of snaked around. It was carpet all over the wall and the top. As you went through this, walked out into this room, and I'm looking around and I'm thinking in my head, my mom is like, leave. And I'm like, no, I'm staying. I probably should leave, but I'm not. Right? But the whole point was it was there. And but you know, I decided to chance it, you know, because I was 21 and Superman. You know.
My mom said, I'd be doing so many things, and she would always say, Jimmy, do one thing at a time. Today, when I'm around my house and I find myself doing that, just as clear, I tell myself, Jimmy, do one thing at a time. So that teaching, you know, came off in my.
It helps you to finish.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does. There used to be a song that said, children's voices at play will be silent one day, the day they take old folk away. You know, you don't realize how precious they are in their teachings until you get in situations where you can apply it. Then all of a sudden, oh, now I get it.
And we were talking about that a little earlier. As a trainer, I try to train from a functional standpoint. I always want it to be functional. And more than that, I want the kids to be able to connect the dots on why we do certain things. And because when they're on their field of play, whatever that may be, then they'll be able to relate back to the drill that helped them get to where they needed to be in that moment. So, yeah, it's functional stuff, man.
We got about 10 minutes left. Before we miss it, I was talking to you earlier, and you had said there are some things that are wrong about the city that need to be addressed. You want to touch base with that, right?
Yeah, well, did I say that? Well,
you may not have said it that way, Richard.
Well, no, I think what I mean is there's some things, and when I say that, I don't mean that like the city has components in it that's just wrong. I think what I mean when I speak of the city, and I've said this before.
Now I know that. No, y'all know that.
No. What I'm saying.
That's not what.
No. What I mean is this: the city itself. When we talk about, we have to be careful as elected officials because when we talk about the city of Paducah, sometimes it almost becomes a cliche that the city of Paducah is separate from the people of the city of Paducah. And I don't never want to put a bridge there or breach. Never want to breach that. Why? Because the people of the city of Paducah is the lifeblood of City Hall.
I'm sorry I said it that way.
No, that's fine because it gives me a chance to say this, and I think is very important, that anyone that's living in the city of Paducah should really try to engage what's going on in the city. They should find a niche, whether it's volunteering, whether it's mentoring, whether it's trying to start your own business and finding out that there is an agency in Paducah that your tax dollars has already paid for that will teach you the basics of putting a business plan together so you can be bankable when you go to the bank. Those type of things are out there. But it's up to the individual to find out that information that's out there, like we talked about,
Right.
and engage the city. There's a lot of different areas where people are underrepresented, and it's not so much based on what they look like, it's just a lack of participation. So, I mean, find out. Now, once you get to that level and you can't move because you perceive that there is a barrier that should be removed, that can be removed because of policy,
Right.
that you may feel getting more information that's excluding a certain group of people, then that's where you change the policy.
Right.
You know, I don't think we have any of those policies in the city.
I hear this. No, I ain't voting for him because he's just so and so and so and so. No, I'm not going to vote for so and so because he ain't
Right.
da 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 da.
Right.
Here recently, when I hear someone say that, I say, yeah, have you talked to him recently? When's the last time you talked with him?
Right.
And I'm thinking, you don't know him.
Right.
You have no idea.
Right.
You know, I used to say that if people walked up to me on the street and asked me how I thought the president was doing, I would say, sorry, can't make that call. I don't know what he does. Can't do what he does. Ain't no
Right.
way in the world you couldn't pay me enough money to try to do it. The man's
Right.
got the whole world on his mind.
Yeah.
I can't make that call. I don't know what he's confronted with on a day-by-day basis. And unless I'm connected enough to what
Right.
he does,
Right.
which means paying attention, reading,
Right.
going to meetings, et cetera, that I got no right to make that kind of call. I don't know Barack Obama. I don't know him.
I'm just excited that people feel moved to go to the polls, man. I mean, the voter apathy in this country, it infuriates me, man, that battle has been fought to give everybody that opportunity to vote. And so many people just don't go because they don't think it makes a difference.
I'd be willing to bet that the average person in Paducah, Kentucky has never seen, spoken with, anything of the sort, any city commissioner, mayor, whatever, public official, other than on the program that comes on Channel 11 with the city commission meeting?
Well, they're probably, there's a large percentage of the people in the city, you're right. Now, I live 2 blocks over from where I grew up. So
Okay.
people will come and knock on my door. I'm not saying I'm the most accessible, but people will come and knock on my door and guys that I've grown up with, and they'll look at me and go,
Yeah.
what the heck were you thinking about, man? And we'll have a conversation about it, and a decision that I made, we'll talk about.
Right.
But folks will come up and knock on my door. But I think most people, they have another outlet, I guess. They write a letter, but I'm always like, if you have something to say to me, or if you take issue with something that I've done or the way I voted on a particular issue,
Right.
hey, talk to me, man.
Right.
We'll talk about
See,
it.
People have probably, come to understand that I don't do a lot of political things, on this show as far as influencing people to do this or that, Robert Coleman.
Man, never apologize for you and being you, brother. Man.
A lot of things. What's that old saying? If you're not part of the solution, you're part of the problem. You're part of the problem.
Yeah, yeah. So, and that's what I mean when I think about the city that I live in. People ask me like, why are you running for city commission? That's a basic fundamental question. And my answer has always been the same. If I'm going to live in a city where 5 people make policy, I want to be one of those people. Right. And you win and you lose some, but you keep trying. So I love here at Paducah. I love the people here, and I love the opportunities that are here. I just want more people to get involved in seeking out those opportunities, man, for themselves and their families. Right. Yes, it's a rough economy and all that, but you navigate through it. You make your calls and being as informed as you can.
In any situation, if you've got a mindset about anything, and you sit with it and stay with it forever, you can't. You got to be willing to change.
Yeah. And you know what? Isn't that ironic that the most constant thing ever is change.
Exactly.
It's going to happen.
Exactly.
It's going to happen. How you view that change.
Right.
I have a term that I introduced to my guys, mental transition. Right. The ability of an athlete, the athlete's ability to send a mental message to his body that change of direction is immediate. Right. That means it's coming. Right. It's coming. And you can't wait till you're in the midst of that to make a decision. Right. You kind of got to have some things going on beforehand.
I have very little respect and regard for anyone who says, who won't say I'm sorry, or who won't say I was wrong. Yeah. You know, I was wrong. And if not that, you know, you could be right about that. Mm-hmm. Let me think about it. You know, I may be right, but you could be. Right. So I'm going to look at it. You know, but to stand over here, right? Absolutely not. You've lost. You've lost.
That type of thinking would diffuse a lot of contention.
Right. Right.
You may be right. Let me check that out and holler at you back.
Yeah. We got about 2 minutes left.
Okay.
Do what you will with them.
Well, I will say that I am happy to be a grandfather. That is awesome. The girls are doing their thing.
That's great. That's great.
I'm a blessed guy. I'm doing things that I love to do. That if they passed a law that said you couldn't do it, I'd probably do it for free. You know.
That's
so you know, I'm excited about our city. More importantly, I'm excited about the opportunities in this economy that it allows our citizens to partake of. So let's move toward that way.
Right.
And happy to be here with Jimmie Moore, kicking it. We never have a script. We never do, man.
Never. I think that last show you said, what was our subject, Jimmie?
Yeah. What was that? We just kind of talked into it, man. Before camera stuff.
And this is what it's all about. You know, people saying what they think.
Yeah.
Not what the scripted to say, been led to say. Nothing I'm going to get out of this. No, you know, and all that sort of thing.
I'm just supporting my UK football.
I've said to many people, you're my all-time favorite guest.
Watch out, man. Watch out. Watch out.
You'll be back.
I will.
I'll bring you back, I'm sure. God bless you and your family.
Hey, thanks, man. Appreciate it.
For Minority Focus, I'm Jimmie Moore.